business ideas. We're here with Brian, Dave, and Chad. And we're each going to take a moment and explain what their background is, and then we're going to come through and share their new business ideas. So Chad Bennett, he is with heroic.com. What's been your biggest achievement so far as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, probably that my wife is still with me.
Okay.
But I would say, we've done a couple of really good things. We've been in the Inc. 500 as a president or CEO. I've been in there 3 times, and I think. Wow, that's a question I should have prepared for before, but
the Inc. 500 3 times is more, it's pretty impressive.
Inc. 500 3 times.
Awesome. Dave, what's your biggest achievement as an entrepreneur so far?
I would say my biggest achievement, period, is just for Chad and I to be able to work for 5 years together and be successful together without killing each other.
Okay, that's impressive. Brian, what's your most impressive achievement?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, is just trying and being out there. That's an achievement in and of itself. There's so many people that are afraid to try, afraid to get out there and actually put the work into it and see if it works and see if it happens. I guess for me, the most entrepreneurial thing I've done that's made a big impact was providing a solution for Bitcoin exchanges to actually get to market. And it was something that nobody else was doing. And although it wasn't with my own company, it was something within a company I was working for that really changed everything for Bitcoin.
Okay, perfect. So everyone here on the panel today is heavily involved in Bitcoin or is building or has built a blockchain company. And so today, Dave is going to be the first one of our panel of 3 individuals, and he's going to share his next business idea. So if he wasn't currently at Heroic and say Heroic sold, tomorrow, what would you do next and why? And so you're going to take 30 seconds to tell us the idea, and then we'll discuss it as a group, and then we'll take a moment and play what I like to call a good idea, bad idea, where each of us will say, we think this is a good idea because, and then we think this is a bad idea because. Okay. So everyone who's on the panel, keep that in mind. All right, so ready? Your 30 seconds is going now.
Sure. I think that the insurance agency or the insurance marketplace is really in need of a revamp. It's pretty archaic. Well, my idea is really to enhance the cybersecurity aspect of the cyber insurance market.
So not all insurance,
it's just cyber insurance, really, just cyber insurance, and that's utilizing blockchain for security because if you're going to automate it, it's got to be secure, especially insurance. Also using cyber contracts so that now you're eliminating really the human factor from contracts and from execution. And standardizing the way that you actually rate risk so that you can get consistent underwriting, essentially, for that. So automating that whole process.
So what's the biggest pain point, to make it really easy for the viewer to understand? The biggest pain point in cybersecurity is for the insurance company? Is it for the business?
Well, it's actually both. Okay, so the insurance company is very archaic. They still deal primarily with paper. They don't have a common rating system. It's very difficult for them to properly underwrite a risk that they don't really understand. So that's their problem. From a corporate perspective, most people are still not engaging in cyber insurance and cyber security. Cyber threats are really the biggest risk that we face right now in all aspects of our life. And so from a corporate perspective, if you're not getting cyber insurance because either you can't find anybody who will actually provide that, or they can't rate you appropriately, or it's too expensive and you don't know how to actually mitigate that, I think that there's a huge opportunity on both sides of the fence to actually improve.
Okay, perfect. So Brian, you're at a blockchain, kind of like an incubator, right? Am I saying it right or no?
Yeah, so right now I'm with Block B.
Okay. So what's your, so I have zero experience in the blockchain.
Sure.
Whereas you heard this idea, why is it a good idea or why is it a bad idea? Start with the good idea part first.
Yeah, you bet. So really the blockchain, the power of the blockchain is to decentralize power. So it provides an opportunity for cutting out the middleman in any transaction where a middleman is necessary right now because there's a lack of trust between entities or people. So I like the idea because there's a lot of friction. There's just a lot of friction when you talk about insurance in general. especially in the blockchain space. If you're dealing with anything financial, like fintech related, cybersecurity is huge. It's a policy that almost every blockchain company needs, and yet at the same time, especially if you're doing like an ICO or you have your own token, you have to be able to protect that asset. And there's just a lot of companies that won't write insurance policies for that reason. It's a new kind of asset class. It's a technology that a lot of these companies don't understand. And that's actually where I came into play for the blockchain space for Bitcoin in the early days, was in surety bonds, which is kind of like an insurance product. We had to come up with a solution that nobody else was coming up with. And so I think cybersecurity, there's a huge opportunity there.
Okay, why is it a bad idea?
Like you said, very archaic, that industry.
His new idea, why is that a bad idea?
That's right. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
That's where I'm headed. So it could be a bad idea simply because there's entrenched companies, right, that have huge lobby firms that are working for them, that are working to keep it the way it is. Nobody wants to get disintermediated. And when we talk about insurance, it's a heavily regulated industry. So getting involved in that idea, it's going to take time. It's going to take resources. So it's going to be something that may not happen very quickly. And so if somebody's going to take that on, they've got to be ready to go to bat. And it's going to take some work.
Okay. Chad, good idea, bad idea. Why do you think it's a good idea?
Well, it's definitely a good idea because, like Dave said, there's this specific need to take out the middleman right now. Insurance companies are the middleman, or become part of the middleman in that. And by putting it on the blockchain, potentially you can take out a significant piece that is not needed. You can have, with a decentralized system, you can still get this insurance and you can still take it on from certain companies that would provide services, but you would limit the cost associated with that and the contract that could potentially come with it. That's one of the reasons I think it would be a good idea.
What about a bad idea?
And the bad idea is, the question is blockchain the right platform to do something like this? It's something that's needed, and right now with the growth of blockchain and the amount of publicity it's getting, everybody's wanting to jump on and say, hey, let me tack on this. I have an issue, let's see if we can integrate it with blockchain. Not every industry might be the right fit for it, although I actually do think insurance is a great fit for the blockchain, but that's one of the reasons why it might not, depending on the implementation.
Okay, so Dave, one of my questions is, the blockchain has been around for about 10 years, or that technology, correct? Why has it not made it into the insurance market yet?
Well, I think that blockchain hasn't made it into many markets yet because it's still really in its infancy. Even though it's been around for a number of years, it's really starting to, I think, acquire a lot of interest in industry really in the last couple of years. So there is a lot of expansion. People are starting to think of these new opportunities. And probably somebody's already thought about this opportunity as well. It's just, we're at a spot right now where a lot of different things are being developed and it just hasn't come to market yet.
Perfect. How would you guys take this to market? What would be your first step if you were to launch this as your new business? Let's say the three of you got together tomorrow and said, hey, we're gonna split the company a third, new business. What would you do?
I think part of it is, if you look at like R3, I don't know if you guys are familiar with R3, it's a consortium of banks that got together and said, hey, this blockchain technology, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies are coming. Let's come together and form this group where we can all learn from each other. We can use each other's resources. We can have people testing this technology to see how it works for banks. We would need to do something similar in the insurance space, because if you're just one company and maybe you're just a new entrant, right? You're just a startup in the space, it's going to be hard to be taken seriously. So getting a consortium together of big insurance companies that are willing and ready to look at the opportunity and say, well, how will this change things? And can we leverage this technology and disrupt ourselves before we get disrupted? I think that would be kind of stage one for me, is how many players can we get together in one room to start testing this type of application?
What would be your next step after that?
Raise a lot of money.
How much do you think is needed for what would a seed round be, like 10 million to get off the ground for something like this? Or is this what do you guys think?
Personally, I don't think that the the technology side of it is really difficult.
Mhm.
I think that the difficult part of it is really integrating in the current industry, trying to integrate it. I don't believe necessarily that it's a replacement for current insurance providers. I think it's disruptive and it's going to be transformational. So I think they'll have to change the way that they're going to do business. And frankly, I think they're going to have to do that anyways. It's just based on time. So technology-wise, I mean, yeah, 10 probably plus $1 million for the technology to verify that. I think you're going to have to get a consortium together as well. You've got to develop standards. You know, it's really got to be, there's got to be a lot of upfront work actually before you start coding anything, I think, on this.
Okay, perfect. And then tell us a little bit what you're working on right now at Heroic, your ICO, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'll actually let Chad talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, we are approaching an ICO. We're going to be doing that soon. My responsibility is really helping to bring the software products to market.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've developed a couple software products that we've soft launched already, and we're going to basically hard launch very soon. And those are things I'm working on.
How does Heroic use the blockchain?
I'm going to let Chad talk about that too, just
Okay.
because he's
So
He's
we'll
the
cover
guy
that
with
in
all
the
the
next
words.
episode.
Yeah.
Chad shares his idea.
yeah, Chad's better at it than I am.
Okay, perfect. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything that you guys want to add for this idea, thoughts, insights that you've had?
I think Dave hit it on the head where he said there's got to be a data standard in that. One of the issues right now in insurance and really in the industry is a standard around data. And when you're dealing with cybersecurity, it's really important that there are some very specific standards, and especially with the blockchain also, how's that data being stored, where it's being stored, how people can get access to it. And so building a standard around rating companies, which he had talked about, the importance of rating companies, and if a standard can be built with this consortium, it can really make a huge difference in the marketplace and reduce a significant amount of friction with that. Something small to add.
Okay, well, Dave, thanks for sharing your idea, and join us, tomorrow, or I guess whenever our next episode comes out, and for, Brian and Chad to share their ideas. So thank you so much, guys.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.